Fred Lazarus Jr. was trying to figure out a way to bolster his sales. After all, as head of Federated Department Stores, that was his job. And he came up with a solution. But to make it work, he would have to convince the President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The result was something that came to be known as Franksgiving. So, what was this idea and what was Franksgiving? There's more to the story. In America, it has become tradition to recognize the first official Thanksgiving as the one that occurred in 1621. It was a celebration of a successful harvest by the Pilgrims along with their Native American allies and the local Wampanoag tribe, without whose help it might not have happened. The celebration went on for 3 days, and not only did they eat, but much like today, they also put on sporting events. They had shooting competitions as well as wrestling and foot races. Setting aside a day of thanks was not a new thing. Other cultures had done it before, but it was because of this one that it became an important aspect of American life. Many presidents, including George Washington, John Adams, and James Madison, all issued proclamations to celebrate a day of thanks. The first state to officially adopt a Thanksgiving holiday was New York in 1817. By 1840, most states had followed suit with their own, but the date varied from state to state. And that's where the author of the well-known nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb, stepped into our Thanksgiving history. Writer and magazine editor Sarah Josepha Hale felt that Thanksgiving should be a nationwide holiday, and for 2 decades she wrote columns trying to convince the public. She also wrote to presidents, all of whom ignored her, except for one, Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln agreed that having an official day where the entire nation called upon God for thanks was a good idea. The year was 1863, one that many considered to be the bloodiest of the Civil War. It was the year that 7,000 soldiers lost their lives at Gettysburg alone. Lincoln felt that having such a day might heal the wounds of a nation torn by war. On October 3rd of that year, he issued his Thanksgiving proclamation that designated the last Thursday of the month of November to be set aside for the holiday. This tradition was followed every year by every president until 1939. That was the year that Fred Lazarus Jr. came up with the idea to move Thanksgiving up 1 week in order to extend the Christmas shopping season. That particular year was also unique because November had 5 Thursdays instead of the usual 4. He wanted to increase sales while avoiding what people referred to as Christmas creep. This was the act of putting up decorations or having Christmas sales before Thanksgiving, which at that time was considered to be in bad taste. Lazarus lobbied the Roosevelt administration and found that the Commerce Secretary agreed with him. Roosevelt himself thought it might help the economy. So on October 31st, 1939, Franklin Roosevelt issued Proclamation 2373 that moved Thanksgiving up 1 week. The change faced opposition from many parts of the country since it would cause millions of people to have to change their plans. It came to be known as Franksgiving, after Franklin Roosevelt, a phrase coined by Atlantic City Mayor Charles D. White. As a result, some states observed the new Thanksgiving Day while others stuck with the old one. The confusion became fodder for radio comedians like Jack Benny, who joked about it on his show.
Now go ahead with your poem.
Okay.
What's the title of it?
The title is Thanksgiving. You're a little mixed up, aren't you, kid?
Hold it a minute, Phil. Come in. Mr. Benny? Yes? Are you a little mixed up on account of the 2 Thanksgivings this year? Yes, I am. Why? I was in a fog when we only had one. Goodbye.
It was also parodied in the film Holiday Inn, and even the Three Stooges got in on the act in their short, No Senses, No Feeling.
Nobody home in that house either.
Where is everybody? Maybe it's the 4th of July.
The 4th of July in October?
You never can tell. Look what they did to Thanksgiving.
Why?
But Roosevelt continued the change for the next 2 years. Finally, in 1941, the Commerce Department admitted that the change had no significant effect on Christmas retail sales or the economy. So, with the country still divided over the subject, and the change failing to make the difference it was intended to, on November 26, 1941, FDR signed a joint resolution from Congress that made Thanksgiving the last Thursday of the month of November and officially ended Franksgiving. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit the subscribe button so you can see what subject we'll explore next.